Are you looking for something affordable, unique, and fun to give away in your merch orders or at your shows? Look no further. Hit me up today to order 1-inch buttons for your band, label, or other project. High-quality metal pinback buttons for your friends and fans' battle jackets, messenger bags, and guitar straps. $38 for 100 buttons shipped in the U.S. Message me on IG at Everything Remade to get started. Hello, and welcome to Everything Remade, a podcast that I hope is about growth as much as it is about music. I'm Edie Quinn, and we have a great show lined up for you today. Before we get started, though, I'd like to remind you about our Patreon page at patreon.com/humanmachine, where you can go to sign up and support the show and read zines, get music sneak peeks, and so much more. That's patreon.com/humanmachine. And now, I'd like to play something for you. You're hearing Leaves by Sulk 2, featuring my new pal Lukas on guitar and sometimes vocals. The song comes from their new release, Whatever Happened to Sulk 1, which you can find on YouTube and shortly on Bandcamp.
I think always as a kid, it was the Beatles. You know, my dad always had it on. Like he would force it down my throat. Like I had like a little like CD player on my bedside, and he would always play me the Beatles. Like I just remember that specifically. Like that's my first time listening and being like, this is like the coolest thing ever. I don't know. I get it confused sometimes with like hearing music for the first time, and being like, oh, like I want to do this. I think like I know I've heard music before that, and for some reason that's like the first thing that comes to mind. Like I feel like those moments are the same for me. Like first time remembering music and first time being like, this is the coolest thing ever. I want to know what it is, you know?
Yeah. So you didn't even like at that point maybe even know like what a guitar is or like,
Yeah.
but it's just like, how do you do this?
Yeah, I was like, this is so beautiful. Like, I want to do this. I want to feel this. I want to like feel the way that this makes me feel always, you
Yeah.
know? It was like, it was such a magical moment for me. It was, I think it was Abbey Road or something. There's that song, it's like The Long Winding Road. I forgot. It's been a while since I've like listened to the Beatles, but
Mhm.
song and like specifically
Yeah.
was amazing.
I don't have like much of a musical relationship with the Beatles outside of Sgt. Pepper's, but the thing about that was that like my mom loved the first sort of iteration of the Beatles. You know, she's like at that age,
Yeah.
right? Where it's like she
Yeah.
loved the really happy like love songs. And and I think it was my uncle that like gave me like a tape or something of Sergeant Pepper's. And because I was like I was basically like something to the effect of, yeah, I don't know. I don't get how people think this band is like some extremely like musical genius kind of like band. Like I've heard like She Loves Me and I've heard like this
Yeah.
and like where does all this other like adoration come from? And my uncle's like, you know, essentially like, oh, you have no idea, you know, kind of thing. And so I was listening and I was like, oh, yeah, this is weird. This is like way
Yeah.
different. This is a journey that this band takes you on, you know, and in a
Oh yeah.
and I enjoyed that. I enjoyed like the the that was kind of not necessarily my first like run in with like these are concepts that are beyond the songs themselves, you know, but that was the
Yeah.
first major one where I was like, oh, you can just like do that, you know?
Right?
Yeah, yeah.
So the Beatles was all wait, so that moment for you was what was there a band that you also had a moment where it's like, "Oh, like I got to do that."
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess I think it was I think it was like The Descendants, honestly, because like I heard
Oh
it and
yeah.
I was like, I heard it and it wasn't guitar solos and it wasn't
Mm.
like there was something about the Descendants where like even now I know that there was more going on than say like the Ramones or whatever. Like I think first of
Yeah.
all that's what appealed to me. It's like I liked the Ramones or something, but like there was more going on in the Descendants, but it still didn't
Yeah.
seem like it didn't seem out of reach. It didn't seem like this isn't something I couldn't figure out how to do. It was like
Yeah.
you could tell this is where the guitar sort of stops and where the guitar sort of ends and where it starts
Yeah.
repeating itself. You could, you know, you could parse it out even though you're like I was just a listener. I was kind of like this is how this goes and then it repeats itself. It switches to something else. Okay, I can this tracks, you know, whereas like
Yeah.
I don't know, you know, my dad would be listening to like Blue Oyster Cult or something, you know, and I'm like
Yeah.
I don't get I
Oh
don't, you
god.
know, like this sounds cool, I guess, but like this doesn't do anything for that part of me that is like a teenager and is like, you
Yeah.
know, and everything
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
I that's a lot cooler than mine. The Descendants were so cool. I did not. I actually didn't find heavier, even just like more aggressive music until like later on in my life. Like I started listening to just screamo in itself like 3 years ago.
Hmm.
Um, and like that was a magical moment for me. I think that was like in times because I've been making music before that, but I remember whenever I found screamo, like it just felt so right and like expressive. I don't think I've ever been able to express myself to the fullest since like finding out about just screaming over music. Like it's such a passionate thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Is that when you got your first Metal Zone pedal as well, or?
No, no, oh my god. I actually just used the fuck out of my blues driver in that
Oh, really?
moment. And then I got a rat.
Was that on? Was that
Rat.
the? Is that your setup for the EP that y'all just released? Was that like a blues
Oh
driver?
no.
Oh,
Oh no, no.
oh
Oh,
okay.
the setup like I've been working on ever since Screamo. Like I've been just wanting to get as noisy as possible because I'm also like a big shoegaze fan. Like play Valentine, like I just want to be as loud and like noisy as possible. So I've been using a lot of fuzz. I actually just got a new fuzz. Are you familiar with Death by Audio?
Yeah, I know the company. I don't think I own any. Like, I'm not. I get all my pedals like from people who know stuff, but then like they like you know are like oh, I had to change my rig up. I'm selling this stuff. And so like I'll get cool
Oh,
stuff from people who like really know stuff, but like when I see a really cool pedal and people are like this is everything and then I like look at how much it costs, I'm like, "Oh."
no, right?
I'm like,
I'm all for that Facebook marketplace lurking
yeah.
constantly. Somebody doesn't know what they have. Like, especially in Texas, like people have so much stuff. Like, you can find what you want for like a good deal, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I was just
We're
I asked about the Metal Zone specifically because that EP I was like if they tell me this is not a Metal Zone, I'm going to be surprised. Cuz I was like,
yeah,
but no, it wasn't, huh?
it's not.
Okay.
It's a fuzz war and it's a walrus audio distortion.
Okay.
I forgot the name of it. It's got a bull on it. It looks pretty cool, I will say.
Okay. Yeah, I I have not recorded with my Metal Zone in a while, but when I did, like the vocalist for that project was like, "Oh, you broke out the Metal Zone," and I was like, "You got like how do you know? Because it's
How do you
such
know
a
that?
thing, right? You know." But
Yeah,
yeah, I
I was.
if you've never played one of those, I do
I
recommend
haven't.
just checking one out because like whatever you're dialing in, I was immediately like, I'd be real surprised if that's not a Metal
Oh my
Zone.
god,
But
maybe it would be a lot easier for me to get the noise that I have with a
with just
metal
one
zone.
pedal, yeah,
Rather than
maybe,
having these two pedals always on,
yeah,
you
maybe,
know.
yeah. It's I
Um,
mean, but it's like, yeah, everybody has like every as far as like boutique pedals, they always start somewhere and then they fine tune, and so it wouldn't be surprised if either one of those was like, you know, they sort of started at like metal zone for like a bass, like this is where we're starting like for the sound,
yeah,
and then they just like went off, from there. Like that's what I'm to understand a lot of them do. I don't know the first thing about doing that kind of thing myself, which is
I, are you not a big pedal fan?
um it, it's like it's not. I just my thing is that I try to avoid becoming interested in things that I can't I won't have access to, right? So it's
Yeah,
like if I was like, "Oh, that pedal looks cool." Like I can't afford it. I can't afford
yeah,
like literally anything. So I'm just like it's better to not know. So I
yeah,
have some like I've got I got that mimic, when times were better.
yeah.
I got like a pitchfork, from one of my friends, secondhand. Um, so I have some and I enjoy them. I like when my band plays, I will pull them out. I'll be like, oh, let's try this, let's do this. But for the last couple of recordings that I did, I honestly like the last record that I did, I used zero pedals, just the tuning pedal.
Oh,
I just did straight in and out of the amp, and the one before that, I just used like one pedal, it's an OCD clone, but it's like
oh,
from Donner, so it was like
mm,
$30. Um,
mm,
and yeah, I so it's like that thing, right? Like I know I'd
mm.
get way into it, so I just am like, don't even look, don't even think about
Right.
it. Just stay in your lane, which is, but yeah, it's
I
fun.
think what I think what I really like about getting into something is like it might like because I feel the same way. Like I work at a thrift store, you know, I hardly make rent, but like I think if you're like really into something, like you actively seek it out, you know, and I feel like it's a form of manifestation where you'll find a way to afford it. You'll find a way to like get it. And I think that's just part of like, you know, in my brain, it's like I get obsessive with like, especially like music gear. Like I'm really into like sounds and making weird stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Not weird stuff like stuff sounds weird. Just like I like playing things, you know, like a little kid. So
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm just actively being patient and waiting. And you're right, it does. It sucks. There's like a something in my heart, like there'll be something new that comes out, but I'm like just now getting my hands on like for example, like the SP404, like I finally got a hold of one, but now there's a new one, and now like I am longing for that as well because like I can't afford it, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like it is like such a like game and tease, especially whenever you're like really into music and you're in a financial position where it's like I'm not like allowed to have toys or play with the things I want to play with.
Yeah.
And I think it makes it a little bit more fun. You appreciate what you got.
Yeah. It is certainly, you know, I think that like gear, I think that there's a couple sides to that where it's like number one, you have the person that thinks that that piece of gear is gonna solve some kind of problem for them creatively, you know?
Mm,
Like like you have people that are like, if I just had the right gear, then I could finish this EP or whatever it is, right? And like
yeah.
that's not I don't think that's a good place to come from, you know?
No.
But at the same time, I have bought like just like $100 guitar, right? And it's different from the other guitars that I have in whatever way. Like it feels different to play it or whatever. And I've like instantly been like, I just wrote 6 songs and I am starting a new band, you know? So it's
Yeah.
like, that's like the dichotomy or whatever, you know, that's
It is
the coin
so
flip.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I've definitely like will go to Guitar Center and pick up a guitar, and I'm like, oh, that's a new song, you know, like
Yeah. Yeah.
that's awesome. But I definitely do think like that that reverb pedal is not gonna help your EP, dog. Like I don't know what to tell you, like.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I agree, it's like such an interesting thing, and I think if like I think like people like to make excuses, you know,
Right.
especially for the music. Uh, it's so interesting. I'm not sure.
Yeah. I mean,
End of the day.
it's it's tricky, you know. I've talked about like these kinds of things plenty of different ways, but it's yeah. I mean, it's there's you can do things that it's like yeah. If you have this like clean part and you have this really nice reverb pedal, like no doubt, like that's gonna do something. You know, that's gonna like.
Yeah,
But at the same time, like if you don't have the part to begin with, like the reverb is not gonna write the part. You know, like I don't know.
yeah.
It's
I think I
there's
agree with you. You know, it's like that that could be like a really cool moment, but I think like also at the same time, like if you're a DIY band and like you know, I think like the gear is also so important to kind of highlight like who you are.
mm-hmm,
I get wanting to break out of that box, but
yeah,
sometimes I feel like it's so like my opinion, and I know like this is like, you know, people might feel differently, but I think like that moment of time where you don't have that reverb is gonna be way cooler than the moment of time when you do have it. Like you're gonna look back and be like, that's like a snapshot of like a year ago whenever we dropped our EP and like I couldn't afford the reverb pedal and I wanted to play that part so bad with a reverb. Like I just think like that is so cool, you know, like the growth of the thought of
sure,
like even gear is like so important to that as evolving as like an artist, which also like goes back to the conversation of like does a pedal make you a better musician, you know? It's weird.
yeah. You know, it's just like while we're hashing through this, you know, I was thinking on the flip side, of course, there's always there's always plenty of examples where you can be like, well, actually, without X pedal or whatever, this part just does not happen. It doesn't get written. And
Hmm.
like one thing I can think of, I'm not sure the name of the song, but it's like this song by this band Sparta, and it's like the one where the chorus is like assemble the empire or whatever. But so maybe that's the name of the song. I don't know. But there's the part in it where the guitar is basically like, and it's all these delays. And
Yeah.
I was thinking the last time I heard that song, I was like, yeah, I don't even know how you would figure this out until you like turned your delay on and like started messing with it and being like, oh, actually, like there's just one note like three times and they just got the repeats or whatever like
Yeah.
tweaked the hell out. And like, yeah, that's an instance where like, yeah, that part just like kind of doesn't exist until you're like, I'm gonna try something with delay, and you put your delay on. So I mean,
That
you know.
reminds me of like Under Oath song. It's also very similar. And like I was thinking about that yesterday whenever I was checking out. I feel like, you know, at the end of the day, I haven't hit uh all the classic like big screamo bands or like big bands from like early 2000s yet, and I've been like scraping through slowly. And I was listening to that Under Oath song on their like second album, They're Only Chasing Safety,
Uh huh.
which was also like such a cool listen. And I was like, I'm so confused also, like people got to do so much to get that, and it's such a cool sound. And like you're right, like it is like so important to like songwriting. um like that delay, like every single show you got to set up your delay pedal again. That's annoying as hell. Like that's passion to me. Like you're
Yeah.
so cool for that, you know. And like
Yeah.
what if you're like a millisecond off whenever you set up your like pedal? Like that ruins the whole vibe. So it's, I think that's so cool.
Yeah. I mean, this is like from my perspective, like when I was a drummer and I had like the kit with two toms and I had like two crash cymbals and then a crash ride, and I also had like a china, and I was like, no. Like I'm not setting this stuff up every time. Next thing you know, I
Oh
got a
my god.
4-piece kit. I'm only using a crash ride and hi-hats. Like I went from like all this stuff to like, what do I really need to bring with me? Like I'm little. I don't want to carry all this. I don't want to like set all this up
That's
every
so
time.
funny.
And like,
I
yeah,
that's the duality
right,
of like
exactly. But then you
I
might record and you're like, bring it
I
all,
want
you know?
all of it.
Yeah.
And
Just
like at practice, you're just like maximalist, but at shows, you're like minimalist. And
yeah.
I'm just so curious what that sounds like. The two, like
Nah,
that's
it's
awesome.
yeah.
I wish I could be the same way. I was telling like one of my drummer, I was like, I just want to show up to shows with one pedal. I show up with like I have this old briefcase. It's like huge, not briefcase, suitcase, and it has all my pedals in it and our sampler. And I'm like, I hate this. I'm showing up with like the giant amp and these pedals, and like I hate carrying stuff. Like I'm not a strong person. Like I'm just like struggling every show. But
Yeah.
on the same topic of drums, I don't know how our drummer does it. Like he likes to show up to every shows and like with extra stuff and like making sure he's set. Like he's so into it. And like I think he's like I think it's safe to say he's like really passionate about this project and any project he's in. And he's like most of the time he's backlining the kit so he can do like the four toms and the like six cymbals he has. I don't know if it's six. It might be like four. I'm not the best at counting, but
Yeah.
it's just so incredible to me.
Yeah.
You know.
before I ever started playing drums, we used to like, cause our drummer, um, in one of my bands in high school had so many cymbals. We used to be like, oh, we're calling the cymbal police. Like, we like it's too many. You're violating
Lock
code
this
40.
guy up.
Yeah, it's too many symbols. We're gonna have to take some of these in. No,
That's
it's
so funny.
yeah, it's yeah, it's like I said, it's like you can have that piece where it's just like you're only going to use it once, but you use it to this effect where it's just like nothing else will do, and so you get where to where you're like, well, if we're going to play that song, then I have to bring that symbol,
Yeah,
even if I
right.
only bring it once. And I'm not putting this, into your drummer's situation, but just like from my own experience, it's like you have to set up that ice bell every single time just because you hit it one time, like it's like okay, but
Oh,
yeah,
that's so. I feel that because I have one pedal on my board that I use like one song, and it's a delay pedal on the out just to like get the glitching effect. And
mm-hmm.
it's like, do I really want to carry this extra pedal everywhere just to set it up, break it down?
Yeah,
But
yeah, I mean, the longer you do that kind of thing, though, the more efficient you can learn to be with it. It's just, yeah, it's that's the thing, right? You just gotta be like, well, how important is it, and you know, how like maybe eventually like we'll have like some other songs we want to play instead, so I won't have to do this all the time.
yeah,
But yeah, so you know, I but like I forget who it was that shared something, and I saw something about y'all, and I was like, yeah, I want to chat with this band. They seem really cool. Um,
oh, thank
but
you.
your online like presence is it's very mysterious, right? So like I had to ask you. I'm like, hey, where can I actually listen to this EP?
Oh,
Because if I just Googled now the band is called Sulk 2.
yes.
Okay. And like if you just Google that, like Sulk 2 Bandcamp or Sulk 2 Band or whatever, I was just getting, and I was putting it in like the way it is on your, the way it is like on your Instagram page and the way like you type it out. And I was just getting like albums called Sulk, as all these. There's another band that's called just Sulk, and like
Yeah.
I was just finding all this stuff. None of it had anything to do with y'all, and so eventually you're like, oh, here's the YouTube link, and I got to listen to it and stuff. But like it's very like, okay, I don't know what other bands these people have been in. I don't know like how long they've been a band and stuff like that. So that's fun and mysterious. But like, let's break some of that down. Like,
Yeah.
is this other like is this former members of other bands that people could hear, or like current members of other bands you all also have going on? Like, what's the deal there?
Yeah. We uh Tessa and I, the singer of this band, were in another like screamo band for a while, a year and a half, and we just kind of had a falling out with our other member because we were a three piece. And we that was our both our first band, and we felt like really strongly about it, and so um, I we just made a couple demos and reached out to some friends around the scene. Our drummer Daryl was in another band called Philo that's really pretty popular around Austin, like the underground parts of it. And we thought he was one of like the most talented people like playing drums in Austin. Like I still genuinely think he's like the best drummer in Austin. But I might be a bit biased on that. And it started as another three piece, and our other band was called In These Walls. It was like a screamo project, and we kind of ditched that. And eventually, over time, we found our amazing bass player Ken, who's I believe this is her first band that she's played live with, and she's so incredible. She's been like playing like classical guitar for like 15 years, and I remember hearing her play guitar for the first time. And I was like, maybe we should just do a little switch. Like maybe you should be playing guitar and I should be playing bass, because that's like crazy how talented they are. And that's like pretty much it on the dynamic. I think only one of us is in another active band, and that's Daryl, still in their band Philo, and that's pretty much it. We yeah, just a little together, I guess.
Yeah. 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 I could kind of tell that, like, b- because the like the headphones that I have that I was using to listen to the demo. First off, they're like super bass heavy, and so like there was just like a lot of low end going on. But whenever there were sort of like tonal shifts in the songs, like I was like, yeah, this bass player like knows a little more about what's going on, like, than the average person. Like I could tell, like, these tonal shifts, like, they were unpredictable, but they were, I could tell they were coming from a place where it's like, yeah, this person knows what they're doing. And
Right?
I don't know if that makes, like, I'd have to go through and be like, this is a specific spot that I'm talking about. Like, I'd have to go through and listen and find that and be like, right here in the beginning of this or at the end of this or whatever. But I was, that was something that I was like, oh yeah, for sure. Like, you can tell, something's going on there. Like, um,
I'm so grateful for Kin. I feel like she brings such a. We all have like a lot of different influences, and like I'm just grateful that we got another angle of that. And like Kin, like I'm so surprised this is her first time playing bass in a band. It's like you said, like she's just got like such a great ear for arrangement and movement. And I don't know, like I think we would be a completely different band without her. I'm super impressed. Like I remember in practice we can't like I can't really hear her that well. Um, but the minute we started recording, I was like, "Oh my god, this is incredible." Like I never really got to hear you like alone, like isolated. And
yeah,
it's so beautiful. I'm so grateful for her. She's so awesome and talented.
yeah. It can be hard when there's like all this, when there's all this like beef behind the guitars or whatever. Like, you just know when something's wrong more than when
Yeah.
something, you know what I mean? Like, it's like,
Yeah.
as long as like you don't hear something that's like the bass and the guitars can really start to like blend together in a way that makes it hard to discern things. But I mean, the second something's wrong, you know it, because there's
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
You know.
it's yeah, it's really cool that, like, uh you said Tessa, or just Tess.
Yes. So,
Okay.
yes.
Um, so you all came over from essentially this other project. Had you known each other long before that?
Oh yeah, Tessa and I think before that band, we'd known each other for about 3 years. We were like coworkers at a thrift store,
Oh,
and
okay.
so
And
I remember I didn't know she was into screamo, and one day she just came over and she's like, "Have you heard of this band called Claybirds?" And I was like, "What? You know Claybirds?" And then I brought her to practice the In These Walls practice because I was screaming in These Walls first, and then I was like, "This isn't cutting out for me. I'm not good at doing two things at once, and I'm not the best screamer." So she came over, and ever since then, like I don't know, Tessa and I have always had like a really like just a connection to each other, like just friendship wise and like musically. So it just like really clicked in that moment, and ever since then we've been like making music together.
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
It's fun. It's funny. Um, you're talking about like a band that's a couple years old and being like, have you heard Claybirds? And I've heard like every obscure band like from the late '90s, like having played shows with them and had them play at my house, et cetera, et cetera. But I only heard Claybirds like a couple months ago and had like their
Oh,
drummer on our podcast, and so
oh
it's like
yeah,
it's wild. Like, we're coming from it from a totally different sort of like time frame, and I think that is one of the greatest things about like being active in music right now, and specifically screamo music, is that like the the point of entry can be so varied, and you always end up
yeah.
sort of getting to the same place, you know? Like, I think
I
that's really cool.
I think that's so interesting too because the drummer in our last band, he is like a bit older than us, and he was like, oh, I was born in 2002, so I missed the 90s, and he was sharing so many cool bands from the 90s and really educating us whenever like we were going down this path, and it was like so awesome to hear because my point of entry was versus self. Um, and so it was really cool to hear like I hate myself and like Indian Burn Summer I think is the name.
Oh, just
Um,
Indian Summer. Yeah.
oh, Indian Summer, I
Yeah.
see. And then yeah, just hearing all those like 90s bands and continuously finding them is like so awesome and so cool to me, because there is such a strong screamo scene right now, which like gets me so excited, because like I just like sharing like a passion with other people, and there's so many cool bands in Texas as well, like that I'm able to be friends with that I met through playing shows that like gets me giddy thinking about it because I'm like I feel like I didn't find screamo like I only found it 3 years ago, so it's really cool to like be able to fit into a community and feel like warmth from that, like
Mm-hmm.
just a big hug, and it,
Mm-hmm.
it gets me so excited to think about.
Yeah. Yeah. Years ago, Texas definitely used to be like we would, that's where we were. Like every tour, we would hit Texas. We'd hit Denton and we'd hit Austin,
Oh,
and a
mm,
lot of times San Antonio as well. But yeah, I mean, Denton especially, like that's where our friends who are in like Fleshborn and Skimp and all that. That's where they
oh,
they
oh,
live. So
Skimp,
yeah,
2 nights, right?
yeah, two nights. Yeah,
Yeah.
Miles, Parker, Donovan, all them like best people, and just like every time we go any, I mean, it was like south like southeast tour, like we're hitting Texas anyway, like west coast tour, we're hitting Texas anyway, so um
Oh,
oh so yeah, it was always like that, and it's awesome to
really?
see, like, because I felt like for a minute, you know uh I felt like for a minute before like 2020 that screamo was kind of like, in as far as like Austin and stuff like that, was sort of like on the way out. So it's awesome to see like this new outcropping of bands and stuff, specifically
There
in that
is like
area.
there is a couple cool bands from Austin, but I feel like we're like everybody here is talking about the Denton bands. Like it's always like Denton this, Denton that,
Mm-hmm.
because they have so for some reason I don't know what they're doing to the water over there. But every person I've met who's in a band around there is so talented, and there's like a new band every week that's so incredible. There's this band called My Point of View that just came out, and they're like so beautiful, and they're from Denton, and I'm like, of course they're from Denton. Like I don't know what
Yeah.
else, but it is a little disappointing that the Austin scene is so small. Like you could throw a rock, and there's only a couple people who would pick it up. We got like votive, and like I don't know if you're familiar with votive at all, but Kyle, the singer, they're just such like a big important part of the scene. Like I see them at every show and paying attention to every band, and they feel like the screamo godfather to me because like I see you everywhere, and like you're always putting together shows. It's really cool to see. I do wish it was bigger here though. There's only a couple bands.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I know that Oh gosh, I'm totally like Rose Ceremony. Yeah,
Oh my God.
that's
Yeah, they're
one.
so
Yeah.
incredible.
Um,
Yeah.
so
There's
yeah,
a band called Tamsin. That's pretty cool.
yeah, Oshera, or am I don't know if I'm
Oh,
saying that right.
Oshera.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So like, yeah,
Yeah.
I know it's like it's coming back. I think I think there's some other bands that it's like one of my friends who used to live in Pittsburgh plays drums in a couple bands there now, and I don't want to say the wrong name,
Really?
so yeah. Like I should. There's always like the thing about a lot of bands now where I'm like I am worried about saying the wrong name is there's so many bands with like there's a bunch of words in the name, but it's just like
Yeah.
one continuous thing. And so I get a lot of them like mixed up, and I'm like, I want to say like Bullets Between Tongues or something maybe is a
Oh
band
yeah.
that but I'm like, am I wrong?
They're
But
from Denton. That's right. That's
oh,
right.
okay,
They're
yeah,
so sick.
but
Yeah, they were also really formative. I think like it's so
mm,
interesting because like um I got into emo around the emo revival, and like a lot of the bands that I liked were like down the road, and like that's never happened to me before.
mm-hmm.
Like so it was really cool to like go see like Bullets Between Tongues and be like, "Whoa, like these guys are so sick. They're not that much older than me, and like they sound so great." And I remember that first EP, like that felt like I don't know, but like I was kind of because I was still like getting into hardcore guitar and like metalcore stuff or whatever label you want to put on it.
Mm-hmm.
And those guys really got me into like I think they're like on the heavier, not I guess they're on the heavier side of screamo where it's like they got the breakdowns and stuff, and that was so cool to me.
So it was like a gateway really into like,
Yeah,
yeah, it's
deep
like
diving, you know.
it's close enough to what you were used to, and then introducing some other things. You're like, well,
Yeah.
how about check out some stuff that's a little on the whatever side of this? And yeah, I mean that's
After them, I listened to haikus. I forget their full name because, like you said, like it's scrunched together
I
and there's
wrote
so much.
haikus about cannibalism in your yearbook, I
Yeah,
believe. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. That's
Stop.
yeah. It's wild. I mean, you already like kind of touched on that, but it's like you can you can just go on YouTube or whatever, and there's like a couple like specific channels, like Sweet Baby Jesus or whatever is one of them, and you can sort of just like really fall down that rabbit hole of like this is a band that only existed for like 3 months in like 1998 and only ever recorded like 4 songs, but it's like the most incredible thing I've ever heard. And
No, right?
and it's like you can just that can just happen to you like for like months on end, like just randomly finding stuff like that. And then yeah, it's wild. Like I mean, all the bands that like I've had the, pleasure of like playing with in the different bands I've been in, and then just being like there's nothing online about this band. Like this band might as well not even exist except in like my memory. And it's for every band like that you can find some obscure like rip of that you never knew existed. There's another band that's like that where it's just like lost forever, and it's
Yeah.
so weird, but you know
Do you have like any like CDs you reference back, like you had to buy from a band you played with, and you're like, "Ah, I need to hear this right now, and you can't find it anywhere?
it's kind of funny because there's actually a CD that like that I own that from this band called Insidious that like um there are people in Wisconsin that run like archival sites, and they're like, will you please rip that already? Like nobody else has it. And by this point, maybe they found somebody else that has it, but I'm always like, yeah, I'll totally rip it. And I space it, and so if, if I'll try after this to look and see if anybody's actually ripped that, and I'll try to like rip it real quick. But yeah, there's stuff like that. There's
So awesome.
there's stuff where it's like I where like I played with a band and I'll look for this. I have the like a riff, of theirs because we play like 3 or 4 shows of them. I have a riff in my head that I'm like, I gotta hear that riff again, and I'll look all
Uh,
over for this band, and then you can't
yeah.
find it. You can't find it, and then like you're like recording one of your own songs, and you're like, oops. Like that riff that
Oopsies,
I
yeah.
like couldn't find is like at least somebody will hear it now. Yeah. Oh well.
Love that.
Um, at the same time, like nobody can prove that it's not yours, right? Because
Right?
then they'll, but so it's a win-win really, because if somebody says, "Hey, that's my riff," and you're like, "Really, prove it," then they got to put their song that you've been trying to hear for 10 years online. So it's a win-win, right?
Yeah.
You're like, "Oh, my
That's
bad, I did
so
steal it." Yeah. So
getting them to post their music.
yeah,
That's so, and speaking on physical media, like I'm so happy that also like this like movement of screamo doesn't need physical media, but everybody likes it. And I'm
yeah.
so grateful. There is something special about like having that CD from, a band that you found 40 years ago, 30 years ago in your hands. And like I always try to buy CDs or tapes. I think people like tapes more, but I'm a fan of the CD art.
Hmm.
And I think that's so awesome nowadays that people can just like want to do that.
Yeah, it's it's way more reliable too. I mean, I do make a lot of tapes. I love tapes. I think for me, like as somebody who's like like sort of like severely like dialed into the art aspects of them and the like sort of like physical makeup of the packaging like sides of
Mm,
them, like I like all of them for like different reasons. Like I like how like with a tape you can just make like this thing that folds out like an accordion and put it inside a jewel case, or you can like do all other kinds of weird things. Like I got this one tape from this band from Malaysia, and it was like this is like inside of, like they took like a sticker and put it on side this thing that like you keep soap in it, and like the tape is in there with like this whole fold out like
oh,
lyric booklet and stuff, but it's like this
oh.
is a soap holder that like you buy to like when you take your own personal soap on vacation or something, or maybe you just
That's
have it in your house because you don't want your soap getting whatever. But I
that's
was
so
like,
awesome.
yeah, yeah, and so I love all of that, and like especially like it's like CDRs and whatnot. It's like who's to say that this has to go into a jewel case? Like it can go into literally anything that you can fit it
Oh
in,
my
and
gosh.
it's so
That
much
reminds
fun.
me of that February tape they just
Oh, with
dropped with
the
the
in
milk
the
crate in
cigarette
the
package.
cigarette thing. Yeah, with
Yeah,
all the stickers on it. That's so cute.
yeah,
I thought that was so fun.
yeah. It's stuff like that that like yeah. I'm just like, I mean, I have projects where like there's literally like less than 10 of this thing in existence, and that's fine. Like I just wanted to make
Yeah,
it, you know?
yeah.
And
We I feel that we did like 5 CDs for like we had an EP release show a couple nights ago, and
mhm,
it was funny enough at my house, and just like whoever wanted one could come get one for like $5, $10, and
mhm,
I don't think we're gonna make those specifically again. Like it had alternative art on the back, and
mhm.
I like making like a little special moment like that because like I know if like I was like going to see a band I like I want something to like remember, be like, oh, only I got that, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. There's there's a band that I did 20 something years ago now, and like last year we did like a proper release of it for the first time. And before that, and sort of what like prompted me wanting to do that was somebody just like sent me this picture, and I was like, I don't even remember making those. Like we did this other version of the album, like this other CD version, which was in this card stock, and it was like hand painted, and I
Mm.
remember that. I still
Oh,
have one of those. But then like the other one was like, it was like, plastic baggy. It was like alternate artwork. It was like, and I was like, I don't even remember that. I don't remember, like, and our vocalist was like, yeah, I just did those for like this one specific show, like, remember? And I'm like, well, I
oh,
do now, but yeah,
oh,
it is
that's
cool. It's
so
just,
fun.
yeah, it's, and
I
it's,
think physical media is just the love of music. I don't know, just like the physical affection, you know?
yeah, you,
It's awesome.
there's so much talk about like how people have let music become just sort of a passive thing, like in their life, like they're not actively listening. And like, we won't get into that too much because like we don't have all night and you really could. But like
Yeah.
the thing about physical media is like you do sit there and you do open it and you do read the lyrics and you do engage with it in a physical way. And it's like why you when you're taking a spelling test at school, for better or worse, your teacher's like, write the word 10 times or whatever, because you are forming a connection, like,
Yeah.
between the different parts of your brain that like are listening to the music and the different parts of your brain that are engaging with the physical object, that are engaging with the words on and the images on the insert or the cover or whatever. And so yeah, I mean, it is like, I think if you give it the time and you are just like, when I was listening to y'all's demo, I am just in my room alone with headphones on and I'm not doing anything else and I'm just listening to it. I think that all the, you know like 90% of the same connections you can have to the music and you can like get really into it. But I think that other thing where you're holding it and you're, you know, becoming engaged with it on a tactile level, or if that's the
Yeah.
right word, are like, yeah, it takes it deeper, is all I'm trying to say. Yeah.
Also, I really appreciate you reaching out and also checking out the EP. It just means a lot, and thank you.
Yeah, of
Um,
course. Of course.
so on that note, I'm kind of upset that like a lot of other bands don't post their lyrics. They make it so hard to find lyrics, and that makes me so sad. Like I want to scream that at your show, you know?
Yeah, I I'm guilty of that as well. Because
It's too.
because like, here's the thing is like, I I I get like, okay, I have sort of like, um I sort of have like, okay, these are all the lyrics. They're like, in they go from like, I just have like notebook pages with parts of the lyrics written on them. I Some of them are in the notes app in my phone. Some of them are in an actual notebook. And when I am recording the album, these are getting revised. They're getting like, oh, that's the wrong word. And half the time, like, I don't even write the right word down. I just like,
Yeah.
I'm in it. I'm in the zone. And so when it comes time to post the album, sometimes like, I'm because you got all the stuff to do if you're doing like a cassette release or vinyl or whatever it is you're doing. You got all this stuff to do. Get the pictures on the Bandcamp. Put this, do all the songs. You got all this stuff to upload, and you're like, it's got to be on this date, and it's got to be whatever. And then I get so stressed out by all that. Like at the I'm always like, I'll do the lyrics later. And guess
Later,
what?
yeah. Never
and, and
happens.
guess what? Then it's like I said, it's like, I'm like, oh, I got to go down and I got to like I got to dig through like all these pieces of paper, and then I got to figure out which ones are
Yeah.
in my phone, and then I got to figure out whatever, or I got to just sit there and listen to it and type it out, like either way. And I'm like, I'll do it later. And it's just like,
Yeah, right.
so if it's not
That's
there,
so
like
fair though.
when the album drops, then it might not be there. And I think I'm pretty good. I think probably a lot of them are. But then the last time when we were getting this album ready, like it's getting pressed to vinyl for the first time, and it's been out for like a while, but it's finally getting vinyl. Um and so I was like, oh, I got to do the insert, for it. And I went to the Bandcamp because I was just like, oh yeah, cool. I'll just copy and paste the lyrics from the Bandcamp onto the insert and arrange them in some cool way. And I was like, oh, they're not there.
Yeah.
And
Oh.
at that point, I was like, well, I'll just make sure I can copy them from this document onto the Bandcamp, like at a later date. And then
Yeah.
guess what? My computer melted down. So,
Oh no.
yeah. So I was like, oh, well, they'll get
Computers
up there
love doing
eventually.
that.
Yeah.
Like the most inconvenient times. They're
Yeah.
like, I'm done.
Yeah. Just
Good
like,
luck.
you know, but, yeah, I mean, I think that hopefully when the pre-orders for the LP, I'll make it a priority because I won't have much else to do. I'll make it a
Do
priority
yeah.
to do that. But
Yeah. Oh, I hope so too, because
yeah.
somebody's out there wanting to scream those.
Oh, I hope so. That's nice of you to say. Yeah. So this EP, whatever happened to Sulk One, that's the name of the. So is that just like a tongue in cheek, like because we're called Sulk 2, or is there a little more to that?
I'm just tired of people asking.
Do they ask that?
So
Like whatever happened to Sulk 1?
everybody,
Oh, so
everybody.
I wouldn't, I would never, I am very corny and I would ask corny questions to people for sure, but I would look at your name and be like, yeah, this is obviously like an artistic choice. I'm not gonna, yeah. Um, so it's like, it's like it's in a way it's poking fun at like this idea that people ask that, like why would you ask that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, there definitely was a Sulk one, and something definitely happened to it. Whether that was like a bear, a plane crash, I don't know,
Okay,
whatever.
sure,
It's gone now, and this is all that's left of it.
yeah.
It
um
definitely like was a corny decision, but I think we have a little bit of corny in our style. Definitely corked up.
sure it yeah, it doesn't, especially screamo, it's not, this isn't a genre that's not like there's a rich history of like goofy song names or like like uh in inside jokes kind of things as well, so it fits. I just you know I was asking more on the like, oh, is there like another EP or something that like um y'all had and then we're like, yeah, never mind, but it doesn't sound like the case because there's only just the like, which is essentially, I guess it's your YouTube channel, the band YouTube channel. There's only just like the EP, and then there's like basically a demo version of the first song from the
Yeah,
EP. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, the EP was like the first 3 songs we made back in October. That we've been just sitting on. We recorded it, and then we didn't really like how it turned out, so we went with some other people who helped us record. But that was awesome.
Okay. As far as like electronic elements that you incorporate into the songs, in between the songs and things like that, what was that part of the recording process like? As far as like, did you is this something you have more or less like ready to go when you sort of take a file in and the engineer just like mixes slash like masters it into the project, or like is this also something that you were doing like at the studio working out like the different tracks and parsing that out?
I think for us, we like to have everything live before. So like I mean those ones specifically on the EP, I've had for a really long time, and I actually used in our last band, Tessa and I's last band. And I just thought they fit in really well, so I used them. But usually, I just make them on my computer whenever I'm bored or whenever I like want to make something. I'm like a big fan of electronic music, and
Mm-hmm.
so I'm just tired of having 10 different projects. Like, oh, I'm making this for that, that for this. Like, I think Sulk is just for all of us, like an agglomeration of, I don't even know if that's a word, of all of the things that we like and we want to do. Because I think all of us are tired of the 10 different bands. You know.
Sure, sure. So you said that you recorded the first iteration of that in October, or you've sort of been sitting on these recordings since October?
We recorded those in April. We've been
Oh,
sitting on,
okay.
like, we wrote this in October through December,
Oh,
sometime
okay.
around there.
And then these you recorded in April, and they did you just release them like I can't remember when it said the release show was. Was that like last month or
It was last week. It was like a week
last
ago.
week? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, do you is like do you plan to like put them on Bandcamp or Ampwall or anything like that where people can?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. 100%. I'm just been a little like lazy and like also working a bunch. So it's been kind of like whenever I get, I really wanted to try that new platform called Nina Pro. Oh,
I'm sorry. What?
cut out. I don't know if you caught that.
No, I didn't.
Oh, my laptop cut out.
Oh,
Oh,
oh.
okay.
What's it called?
Did I cut out? I'm sorry. Nina Protocol.
Nina Protocol. Huh.
Nina. Yeah.
Okay. Is that
Yeah. I just found out about it. It seems cool. It's kind of like Bandcamp, I guess.
okay?
Free, I think. I don't know. I don't know like how the music works on there. I just kind of found out about it. I know some people I like are on there, like this band called the Dallas Cowboys, or like this electronic group.
Okay.
Not sure.
I'm familiar with the sports team, but not the group, so I'll have to check them out.
Pretty
Um,
cool.
yeah, I don't know. I've been hearing a lot about Ampwall and
Ampwall.
fellow Texan Gary Brent from the bands like Carabiner and Gone Mage and stuff. He's always talking about how awesome Ampwall is, and I know they've been rolling that out for a while, and I just saw him posting about it earlier, and so I may set one of those up. It's
I need to check this out.
yeah, it's their biggest thing is like they're like, yeah, this is a like musician owned and operated, and like
Oh,
you
that's
know
awesome.
it's like less percentages than Bandcamp, and like
Mhm.
and everything like that, and there's like you know um there's a few different things that they are trying to do there, uh, that are different than Bandcamp. And when I first started hearing about it, I know they were kind of still in beta, but I think at this point you can sort of just sign up and get going. So I think I might do that because
I'm gonna check
like
that out too.
my label like I just can put any of my projects on there, but like my main project has like hundreds of songs and like dozens of releases. So I've never had one that was like just my main project. So I'd be like, that'd be kind of cool if you could just like have that. And so I might see what that's like. But
Yeah,
yeah, shout out to Ample. I hope that they're
I'm gonna check that out
successful.
too.
Yeah.
Seems cool. I
Mm.
think Nina Protocol was kind of on the same wavelength.
It's like,
It was like kind of more for musicians rather than listeners. But also it looks good. So
huh?
I'm gonna
Yeah.
have to get more into it, see what's up with it. But I've just seen so much about it, kind of like how you've seen a lot about Ample. But I'm gonna check that out. That seems
Yeah.
awesome.
Um. Yeah. So you said like, you know, the few songs that are on the EP. You said that you've sort of been through those like since last October and stuff. Assuming that there's like more songs that you've written and stuff over this time, like what are y'all's plans like as far as like you know the next like 6 months or whatever? Are you already planning like, hey, we've got these other X amount of songs, like when are we going to get back in and do those or that kind of thing? Or is it sort of just like play some shows, like link up with some other awesome bands and see what happens?
Yeah, I think it's like a mixture of both. Kind of we've been like trying to write an X amount of songs because we really want like a full length album. I think all of us are like really into the album listening experience.
Sure.
So we're like halfway through with that, like trying to reach 13 songs. But it is kind of like hard for us to get together and write because we are playing like a lot of upcoming shows with some really cool bands that we like. So it's like we're kind of having to pick like, okay, this month we're gonna play like all these shows, and then next month we're gonna like try to say no to shows and write. But I don't know. We're just kind of taking our time. I think we're all having a lot of fun. So
Yeah, yeah. What shows do you have coming up that you can talk about? Like tell people where they are or
um we a lot of them are in Austin, and we're playing with a couple touring bands. There's a band called Norfair
uh-huh,
we're
from
really
Michigan.
into
Yeah.
that. Yeah, we're gonna be playing with them. I'm pretty excited about that. They seem really cool. Missouri Executive Order 44. We just got a show with,
Yeah,
and
that's who.
they're so cool.
That's my
Like,
that's my pal Cat is in that band.
oh
Oh,
really?
yeah.
Oh, they're so.
I'm pretty sure people know they're in that band now, so I don't think I'm spoiling anything.
Oh,
Like
yeah, that's right. I forget.
yeah, they talk about it on their Instagram page all the time, and so um, yeah. If not,
That's really
like
cool.
you did not hear that, you know.
I did not
Um,
hear that. Maybe you could bleep out the name.
yeah, but
Uh,
yeah, they're sick.
that's
They're
pretty
a sick
cool.
band. Yeah.
They're so cool.
When
I
are those
missed them the
shows?
last time. So we got Executive Order 44.
Uh-huh.
I feel like I keep butchering their name.
Missouri
Um,
Executive Order 44. Yeah.
we got them July 18th, and then
Okay.
the next day after that, or like a week from there, we got the Norfair show on the 27th. But just like we're joining some friends on a small Texas tour in this band called Kitty Hell from Benton. It's pretty cool. And then other than that, it's just friends shows. We're helping our friends in this band called Memoria. We're gonna play their like send off show for a tour. Um, those guys are really sweet and awesome.
Yeah, the
And,
drummer. I think that's my friends in that
oh,
band.
oh yeah. They're also in Bullets Between Tongues.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think.
yeah. That's who I was
They're
talking
so
about.
sweet.
And
Oh
and
my
I was
god.
like, I'm gonna say the wrong thing, but it's Memoria. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Memoria is awesome. We've been buddies with the singer Misa for a long time because we played show with them in our last band,
Yeah,
and we're just such big fans
yeah.
of them.
The drummer
It's
used to be in
fun to
that
be.
band, Short Fictions in Pittsburgh.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, they were telling me about. Oh, you know what? I had a whole conversation with them about that.
That's
So
awesome.
silly. I forgot about that.
Yeah, that's
That's
awesome.
really sweet.
Good people.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah,
When is
they're
that tour that
nice.
you're doing?
It's a 3-date tour, the like 24th through the 26th, and just I think we're hitting Denton, Austin, and Houston,
Okay.
and that's pretty much it. Just We are planning like an October tour for us, and we want to like hit the East Coast, but we're slowly planning it. I think we got like a date in Philly, a date in like South Carolina, and then like Atlanta, and that's it right now. But we're gonna see what happens.
And that was my conversation with Lukas. Thank you so much, Lukas, for taking the time to chat with me. Thanks to all of y'all for listening wherever you are as well. Make sure to check out Whatever Happened to Sulk 1 on YouTube, and while you're at it, stop and subscribe to the Middleman Records YouTube channel for updates on the show. Until next time, take care and do good things.